Hello there. 2024 has come and gone at this point, and there were highs, there were lows. It's just like any other year. But I did something a little different at the beginning of this year, and I actually set resolutions for myself to follow. Now, if you went to elementary school in America, you probably did an assignment in class at one point or another where you had to actually write down your resolutions and then display them on your locker or your classroom wall or your desk or, wherever. For me, though, it never really felt that meaningful. I just sort of lived life on autopilot. And that was fine when my biggest concern was being in third grade catching new episodes of Beyblade Metal Fusion. But now that I'm grown up and have adult responsibilities, I don't think I can really live on autopilot anymore. So, in 2024, I decided that I would set some resolutions for myself and try to hold myself more accountable to fulfilling them throughout the entire year. Today, I sort of want to have a daltonIRL review, I guess we can call it, where I'll talk about the resolutions I set in 2024, whether or not I was able to hit them and why, and then we'll talk about what the resolutions for 2025 are. So, buckle up. So let's start with the big one. At the beginning of the year, I set myself the goal of hitting 1,000 subs on YouTube during 2024. And while we didn't hit that metric at the time of recording or writing this video, gaining over 150 subs on the main channel, while also gaining 100 on this brand new channel that we started 3 months ago, is still a metric that I'm proud of. Thing is, I know exactly why I failed to meet this goal, and frankly, it was just a lack of consistency. As soon as the summer hit, my motivation tanked, and you didn't see a single upload from me for 3-4 months. There are two specific reasons for this, one of which we'll kind of touch more on a little bit later, but a big factor was me falling out of love with Destiny. I know that sounds dramatic, and to an extent, there's a bit of hyperbole in there. Destiny is still a game that I have a certain fondness for, and that I'm always gonna have an attachment to one way or another. That being said, it's impossible to deny that my interest has just waned. Right now in the Destiny community, there's a lot of people losing interest. Player counts are hitting all-time lows every week. Because of that, it's harder to pull views on the game. And I know that it's not all just a numbers game. If you're focused purely on analytics in the content creation sphere, you're gonna drive yourself to madness, but I would be lying if I said it didn't have any impact whatsoever. Moving on though, we're going to stay in the realm of content creation. Another goal I've set for myself was sort of consistency related. I wanted to upload 35 videos this year, and I'm proud to say that we accomplished that goal. Even with my massive break over the summer, this year has been my most consistent uploading schedule in this weird YouTube career I've got going on. In both of the periods that I was active over 2024, we were able to manage pretty much weekly uploads. On top of that, I endeavored into a new world with my second channel. Yeah, that's the one you're watching this video on right now. This is the second channel. This has been a great chance for me to shake things up and keep my editing sharp in a different style than maybe just kind of editing down highlights or scripting out guides and stories from Destiny. Simply put, this channel has been just such a huge passion project for me. I love how much effort goes into the videos. I love how much thought goes into these projects, and they're just so much fun to produce. I love getting to just kind of bring in these wacky variety ideas. So I hope you're liking them too. In a similar vein, my third resolution was to be more consistent specifically with shorts and TikToks. And to an extent, this was a success. YouTube shorts were a big focus for me at a few points of the year, and they led to a lot of growth. TikTok, on the other hand, I think I literally uploaded 2 TikToks this year, and maybe I could have seen a little more growth on Twitch or YouTube if I had been consistently posting there, but I didn't. To wrap out the content side of things, for the most part, one of my resolutions was to make a banger charity stream, quote unquote. And to be honest, I think it was. I think we knocked it out of the park this year. For the uninitiated out there, every June I pick a day and I go live for 24 hours straight, and during that time, any money we receive in donations goes straight to an organization to help raise money for Pride Month. We've done it 4 times now. It's a yearly tradition. It's one of my favorite parts of the year because we get to bring together our community and do so much good. And this year was no exception. We were able to raise over $1,200 for the Pride Center of Western New York. And while it was short of our $1,500 goal, that's still the most we've ever raised at one of these events. We still got to make a lot of really cool content while raising money for a good cause. So I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. I can't thank everyone that showed up enough because it doesn't happen without the community. All right, so with that, we're finally mostly out of the content side of things. And we're going to talk about some more kind of personal resolutions I set for myself. Starting with finding a healthier work-life balance. This one took me a minute, but I think we kind of got there by the end of the year. Like I said, the summer was a tough time for me, and that's never really been an exception over the last few years that I've been creating content. I spent the last 6 years working at a few summer camps, and especially with me as the director of a camp this summer, there was no shortage of work to be done. This fall, though, I was really able to kick things into overdrive, so to speak. I was able to put all my energy into creating content and applying for jobs, and upon getting a new job, I found that I had a lot more of a healthy work-life balance. I was able to come home from work, take a quick break, but then be productive for that night and get some good work done on a video. Now, if you've seen my Imagine Dragons video, you know that I'm a big music fan. To line up with that, I set a goal to listen to 75 new albums this year, whether that's them coming out in 2024 or if it's just something that has been out for a while and I've just never listened to it. And yeah, I overcompensated a bit. See, for the last 4, almost 5 years now, I've always listened to one new album every Monday. It's just something I started sort of at the beginning of COVID to get me through things. Even with that though, this year I really tried to push that even further and go beyond just those 52 weeks and try to listen to more and more music, whether it's new stuff coming out or old things that I've had on the list for a while. So it's safe to say that this year was a pretty big one in terms of music for me. Here's a few of my favorite albums that came out this year, and here's a few of my favorites that I listened to for the very first time. And finally, in the realm of Destiny, I wanted to get a clear on the new raid that came out with Final Shape, Salvation's Edge. And yet, no shit, this did not happen. There was no shot I was clearing it. Salvation's Edge set a new record for longest world's first completion at just under 19 hours. On top of that, I ended up needing to work that weekend and there was no way I was going to be able to get out of it. So, not a great combo, unfortunately. But I was honestly pretty happy to just sort of watch from the sidelines and cheer on Datto. Even if everyone's screens were blurred and everyone's audio was muted, it was still just a lot of fun to take a back seat and watch for once instead of trying to tackle it on my own. So those were the 2024 resolutions, and now I know what you're thinking. Dalton, what are you planning for 2025? Well, let's talk about it. Firstly, and I know this is going to sound broad, but I want to keep my YouTube channels consistent and intentional. While I'm happy with my growth in 2024, there are a handful of videos that I'm not happy with because I didn't really put my full foot forward with them. They were rushed, or the editing was really sloppy, or in some cases, I don't feel that they even had enough content to warrant a full video. I really want to change this. I want my content to be, as I said, consistent and intentional. If I don't feel like I have enough to say about something in a scripted project, I want to put that on the back burner and really dig in, do my research, and make it a well-thought, fleshed-out video. I guess to kind of sum it up, I really want to find that sweet spot in terms of consistency of quality and quantity when it comes to videos. On a side note, I also kind of want to focus on myself in that regard. Specifically, I want to get better at managing burnout and writer's block when it comes to content. If I'm going to do this full-time someday, which I know is a long shot, but would be pretty cool if we can make it work, I really need to work on looking past the lows and accepting the lows while also celebrating those high moments that come. Because it's not one without the other. The highs are meaningless if you don't have low moments to kind of compensate with them. Next, I want to continue pushing forward in my current professional career outside of YouTube. For those of you who don't know, I work as a video editor on a few local TV shows here in my town. And while I'm proud of the growth that I've experienced over the last month or two that I've been working there and over the last few years that I've been a video editor, there's still definitely a lot for me to learn and a lot of skills that I have yet to grow. Specifically, I really want to focus on getting better with special effects and maybe motion graphics and color grading. After that, this should come as a no-brainer, but I want to have another awesome charity event this year. Like I said, these are always my favorite moments of the year when it comes to content. We get to do a lot of good for a lot of people in need, and this year should be no exception. This is sort of the 5-year anniversary, which is kind of crazy. I'm only at the early planning stages of this event at the current moment, but as soon as it's ready to be announced, I promise you guys will be the first to hear about it, so stay tuned. On the music side of things, we're gonna step it up a bit. 75 albums was apparently amateur hour for me, so we're gonna move up to 125 new albums in 2025. I also really want to try to stretch out to maybe more diverse genres than I previously did last year. I'm a huge pop punk fan, and that pretty heavily influenced all the projects that I listened to last year. And while I did find a lot of really awesome artists because of that, I do also kind of want to branch out and discover love for other genres too. Finally, I want to keep myself better informed on world events. And that might sound kind of silly, but I really do mean it. For as much as I doom scroll Twitter, I am painfully just kind of uninformed of what's going on in the world. And look, I get that news can be bleak and hard to read sometimes just because it gets so depressing, but I really want to be more intentional with informing myself on what's going on in the world and also being more active in terms of figuring out what I can do to help. And now before I go, I want to say thank you to all of you guys watching. Obviously, YouTube is nowhere close to a career or anything for me, but it's still pretty cool that people will tune in every week to watch my silly little videos. I know middle school Dalton would be blown away by that, as would high school Dalton, as would college Dalton, as am I. So, once again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for making this what it is. So yeah, I think that just about covers it. 2024 was a tough year for a lot of people, but we also saw a lot of good. I don't think it's fair to look at one without recognizing the other. I'm really looking forward to seeing what 2025 has in store for all of us. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what exactly that entails. So for now, I'll see you next time. Take care of each other out there.